It's DTS 204, and the Destiny 2 Year 2 reveal is happening today, plus a $100 million investment in Bungie from a Chinese publisher, plus Warframe DevStream 112. All that and more coming up.
You're listening to Destiny, the show.
What's good, everybody, and welcome to the DTS podcast. I'm joined, as always, by my great co-host, Ditty. What is up, my dude? We're recording this, to frame it, Monday night. I know there's going to be tons of stuff happening today on Tuesday by the scheduling of it, but there's a lot of stuff to talk about this last week news-wise before we even get to the Year 2 reveal stuff. So, with all that said, Ditty, how was your week, man?
My week was great. We had some cooler weather. Well, we had some really hot weather, and then it cooled off Sunday. It got to 100 degrees on Saturday, and then it was in the 90s. On Sunday, we had a really nice cloudy morning hike on Sunday, so that was very nice with the dogs. And then Monday rolls around, we're back at it.
Boom! What'd you play? I know you guys are playing Killing Floor 2 right now, right?
Yes, we are playing Killing Floor 2, and you're going to get it because you're going to play with us because it's super fun. We loved the first one, and the second one is better. It's great. Really grindy, of course, with different perks, different classes, and you just shoot zombies in the face. Different difficulties are really cool. The new bosses are actually quite interesting. I'm not going to spoil anything, but if you just want a fun co-op game that's just survive and shoot and win or lose, Killing Floor 2 is super fantastic. Look for it on a Steam sale pretty soon.
Yeah, Steam sale is probably, going to be 2-3 weeks from now. Now, is there still the bullet time? Because that was one of my favorite things about Killing Floor 1.
Yes, and you'll love it even more because in Killing Floor 2, they talk about they call it Z time, because that's what the enemies are called. In the Z time, the slow-mo, the frames actually increase, so it's a smoother motion. It's really cool.
All right, I might have to throw the $30 at it before the Steam sale. I'm trying to wait for the Steam sale. You know I'm getting it then. I am playing right now alongside Destiny 2, and I played a lot of Warframe this week. Holy cow. I'm getting pulled back in, guys. It's happening. I'm really excited for the new Sacrifice quest. We're going to talk about that, plus the new Warframe revealed. 1 month, that's right. But there's a free-to-play ARPG called Path of Exile. This is like the current day OG Diablo game, right? Diablo 3 had some setbacks. Yes, they improved it, but like the Diablo community is diving deep into Path of Exile. It's a free-to-play game on Steam. It's very, very good. And they just came out with their new season. They're called Leagues, and the Incursion season launched last Friday. I've played some of it, but I have made an active commitment to grind it this season or league. And so I have put in about 20-ish hours into, maybe no, wait, that's not that much. I put like 15 hours into it so far, and it's really fun. I'm trying to do it mainly as like information for the channel to talk about what these looter games are like. Are there elements from these looter games that the FPS things like Borderlands or Destiny can maybe implement? But it has been fun. So that's my little mini rant. If you guys want to check it out, it's free to play.
I've never played a Diablo game, to be honest, and now that I'm like 100% a PC gamer, I'm looking at it. I saw the gameplay. You streamed it the other day, and it looks super fun. So I might actually get Sanic and I into that as well.
It's another one of those Warframe type things where you stumble upon it and you realize, if I had this level of good free-to-play games growing up, I would have failed school, dude. Like, it's probably good that we didn't have this amount of awesome back then.
I mean, to be fair, we'd probably be professional gamers at this point. So,
oh, you know it.
I mean, we got League of Legends, Dota, Heart of the Storm.
Oh man!
And then, of course, you've got Path of Exile and Warframe, and then you got Iron Sight as well, free to play shooter. I mean, there's so many options, and they all look great.
Fortnite.
Like back in the day, RuneScape 2007 was the jam. You know, that was it.
All right, let's hop into the news. We've got that Destiny 2 Year 2 reveal.
News.
All right, as I said, Monday night is when we're recording this. There's tons of news from this last week. However, today, the Destiny 2 Year 2 reveal stream is happening 9 a.m. Pacific time for Bungie. I'm going to put this thing up early in the morning, so enjoy it. Twitch.tv/Bungie. Ditty and I will be watching, and we'll give our feedback and talks on it next week. You can bet your bottom dollar. The TWAB's going to have more news, and they're going to be pushing out a lot of press about this stuff at that time. Ditty from the flavor art of the card and the short little 3-second video teaser we saw today. Looks like we're going back to the reef. The rumor mill is there's a new race. I don't want to get into the rumors because it's all going to be happening.
Yeah, it'll happen today.
Game director Steve Cotton and project lead Scott Taylor. So names that you may recognize from previous reveals. However, this kind of goes back to our comment, Ditty, where it does seem like the way Bungie does everything is very project-based. Every single project, I feel like, gets their own creative lead, and there still is no overlord captain of Destiny 2. You know what I mean? There's no Ian Hazacostas for Destiny.
Yeah, each expansion has their own little team, and then as each expansion comes out, the leads are involved for the first couple weeks, and then it's moved on to the next team. It's interesting.
Yep. Faction Rally 3 is going down, guys. This time, they are doing some really cool stuff with the Faction Rally. So essentially, your reputation progress is retained throughout multiple events, and each time you rank up, it now counts towards something that you can see in game. Even when you reach that rank up 30, you can continue turning stuff in to get legendary gear. And this time, kind of interesting, they're offering exotic armor ornaments or masterwork catalysts for exotic weapons. Dead Orbit is getting the Graviton Lance Catalyst, New Monarchy the Sweet Business Catalyst, and Future War Cult will be getting the Sunshot Catalyst. For anybody who doesn't know, the Masterwork Catalysts are kind of like the exotic bounties in Destiny 1, if you're like Bad Juju or whatever. So when you get it to drop, you got to go through a bunch of steps, and then you can finally complete it and get that added bonus of what the Masterworks thing is, the catalyst is for that weapon. Ditty, who's going to win this?
Dead Orbit.
Yeah.
Graviton Lance is so good right now. Man, that rework is hot. I love it. Yep. Yeah. So it'll be Dead Orbit's going to win, and then it's going to be Future War Cult for the Sunshot, and then Sweet Business. Or I don't know. I mean, I think it's going to be a toss-up for the second one.
Mm-hmm. I think the Sunshot one is cool, but I think it's exactly as you called it, Dead Orbit, Future War Cult, followed by my old school D1 homies, New Monarchy. Each faction now features those ranks, like I mentioned to you guys, and the weapons look pretty cool for this time around. There's a new system called Renown. So basically, after pledging to your faction, players may earn renown by completing a public event or patrol or by defeating high-value targets on destinations. Players who loot a lost sector with renown active will receive significantly more faction tokens than usual. The more stacks of renown they have, the more faction tokens you get. Renown is lost when players are defeated by enemies, so be careful when you're attempting to loot a lost sector. Your health regen is reduced when you have that high stack of renown. Enemy kills have a chance to drop health orbs. Players' damage is decreased, scales with stack up to 5, and then incoming damage increased. And while renown is active on a player, others around them can see which faction they have pledged to. So only in third person, but if you go into third person, you can see like a little flowing, glowing, flamey thing behind their chest. What do you make of all this, Ditty?
I mean, I think it's great that they're trying to incentivize the participation, and the more you play, right, the renown increases the level of challenge in gameplay. It's kind of like that modifier as you continue to play gets a little bit more challenging. I like that a lot.
I agree. I think that they're trying to be creative and within the confines of what they're able to do, they're trying new creative stuff with the event, and I like that. I like that very much. And you can by the way switch factions, and you don't reset your progress throughout
that's really
the whole
nice.
course of the season. There's going to be 3 faction rallies for season 3. That lines us up perfectly with the September release date for Taken Queen, or as you know, we'll probably know the full details of the title tomorrow, right? The Forsaken something or whatever.
Yeah, I think so. Yep.
So overall, pretty cool. I would love it if you could see the actual glowing, flaming thing without third person, because I don't know how often I'm going to be going into third person and be like, oh, there's a Future War Cult, buddy. Cool.
Well, I mean, how often do you look at your Warlock Bond or your Hunter Cape?
Rarely. You?
Exactly.
Escalation Protocol is getting a little bit of a nerf. They're essentially dropping the power of the enemies at the further wave values. I think waves 1 through 3 are identical, but 4 through 7 are getting a little bit of a drop. And the reason they're making this change, according to them, is that they want to make the activity for a fire team of 3 at 385 power more approachable and more doable. So, what do you make? What do you make of this one, dude?
I mean, I didn't want them to nerf Escalation Protocol, but I understand they want it to be more approachable, like you said. Since there's no good matchmaking system for this activity in place, I think this is pretty much one of the only things they could have done to make it more accessible to less people, right? It doesn't require 7 or 9 players in an instance to complete it anymore. Hopefully, a 3-man team at 3d5, like you said, can easily beat it, because they said that's what their goal was, right? Their goal was to have a fire team of 3, since that's your fire team that you can bring into the patrol space.
Yeah.
That's the goal for them to be able to complete it.
Yeah, I mean, we've talked about it at length probably throughout most of Warmind's coverage. Escalation Protocol is a fantastic idea, and it does offer something really hard, probably one of the more challenging activities in Destiny 2. I think the solution here, again, goes back to the drawing board of make it matchmake the activity if you want to, or have an in-game social tool that lets you put a group together to do it. And then 3 difficulty tiers. You've got one that players who just finished the campaign get a taste of it at a much lower power level and a much smaller difficulty curve. And
maybe only like 3 or 4 waves rewards at that point.
Exactly. And then a medium difficulty, and then this end game really hard difficulty. Because when you just have this one version and they're going to drop it down and make it a little bit more approachable, it doesn't make sense. Why would you not leverage that content for more people while still preserving that high-end, high difficulty version with the best rewards possible?
Yeah, and I mean, we saw videos from, of course, they were the top-end PvEers like Glad and Slayerage, those kinds of players, defeat Escalation Protocol with only 3 people, right? But like I said, those are the top 0.1 percenters of the PvE Destiny world. Of course, they're going to be able to do it first, right? Because they're the ones soloing every single raid boss by themselves, just without dying. Yeah. But, of course, I agree with what you said, that we should have that really, really hard activity that not everyone can complete. I think that should be in the game. Some type of goal. Maybe one day I'll be able to do that.
Do you think if they made Escalation Protocol a mode in the game on every destination and made it matchmakeable, is that something you think they should put resources towards?
Yes.
Because I feel like
absolutely.
It is free. It's a freebie. They've put all the stuff in place, and then all they would need to do for the different planets is place the enemy types in. Yeah, you'd have to code and put boss mobs in, and that would take time and effort. But there is something really cool about stumbling upon a hard activity in a patrol space. You don't have that.
I mean, this would kind of be silly, but just as an example, think of like a Crucible map that you load into with 6 or 12 people, and it's Escalation Protocol, right? Archon's Forge, right? Whenever you activated that in Destiny 1, it closed off the room, and it was its own networking instance that people had to like load into.
You had to crouch walk. Wait. Before you get deeper, you had to slowly crouch walk in and out of that loading zone, desperately praying you matched people. Okay, keep going.
I mean, yeah, of course, exactly, right? Hopefully the technology has improved a little bit since then, but something like that, right? I think that would be super great. If they have to reuse assets, Crucible map, just Ogres and Hive or Fallen right there in a Crucible map that a PvEer normally wouldn't play because they don't play PvP, because, that's what I do, right? That's pretty much all I play in Destiny 2. I don't like to touch the Crucible, but if I had to, Escalation Protocol, let's do it.
You play the Crucible. You phrase that really carefully. We are kind of yin and yang. I mainly play PvP these days with Sassy, and you mainly play PvE side of the game. So I do want to transition into the NetEase thing here, because this is a really big company from China, and they get $100 million investment. So Bungie, which I did not know, by the way, Bungie.net, I think, is on the S&P. You can actually, I think, buy stock in Bungie.net, which didn't think they were publicly traded, and maybe Bungie.net isn't directly tied to them. But regardless, NetEase makes a $100 million investment. And I'm going to read a bunch of stuff here, but this is important, I think, especially for the Destiny player base. So Bungie's games have never been released in mainland China before, but that could change in the future. I'm quoting here from a GameIndustry.biz article written by Brendan Sinclair. If you want to check it out, links will be on destinytheshow.com. So the NetEase is a Chinese online gaming company, and it announced that they did this $100 million investment into Bungie. It's not hard to frame the deal as Bungie teaming up with a partner who can bring its games into the Chinese market. Studio CEO Pete Parsons, this is the new CEO of Bungie as of a year and a half, 2 years ago, indicated that it was more a hypothetical opportunity than a reason for the partnership in the first place. And here's the quote from Pete. Really what this partnership is about is bringing the expertise NetEase has, sharing ideas, and allowing us to incubate new ideas, Parsons said. There's no explicit deal to publish our games in China. It's more that they share our passion for games, our passion for building worlds that inspire friendships and build communities. That's the entire focus of it. And the article goes on to read, Bungie is also looking at the deal as a way to further its ambitions as a global, multi-franchise entertainment studio by learning from its new partners' experiences. All right, I'm going to pause here and paraphrase the rest of the deal. The $100 million investment is enough to give them, I think, a seat on the board at Bungie. So NetEase is stepping into a significant partnership with these guys, at least at the high end. NetEase is not like this unknown company. NetEase is pretty much the company that publishes almost all of Activision Blizzard's stuff in China. So if you look at Hearthstone, you look at Overwatch, NetEase are the publishing company of those games in China. I don't know exactly why. I think it has to do with the fact that Chinese tax laws are weird, and having a Chinese company handle the publishing means all of the tax stuff is on them. I could be totally wrong on that, but essentially these are the guys who are pushing Blizzard's games out in China for the most part. You can look it up online. The interesting language in all of this stuff, Ditty, is the fact that Bungie explicitly in all these press releases have talked about wanting to be a multi-franchise studio, but more so than that, self-publishing. Bungie plans to focus on self-publishing games moving forward. I'm going to read here from Sarah Needleman, who is the tech reporter over at the Wall Street Journal, and she says that China's NetEase does the investment, and they want to use this money to create new games that Bungie will self-publish. That means closely held Bungie doesn't intend to rely on Activision Blizzard to publish new games it makes, something it currently does for its hit franchise Destiny. Okay, so, and here's another Pete Parsons quote. A big part of our focus is to self-publish in the future. We'll decide the business model and how the worlds we create go into the market, and neither Bungie or Activision have disclosed sales for Destiny, blah, blah, blah. Keeps going on. All right, Diddy, you want to unpack this for us a little bit?
I mean, obviously this is a huge opportunity for Bungie, right? To finally have their game available in China. That's a huge gaming market right now. I think this partnership probably stemmed, of course, from Activision. Activision said, hey, we got Blizzard's games in China. Here's this dude. Let's partner you guys up, and let's get some Destiny over in China. I think that's interesting because let's think about this. They say multi-franchise, right? Think about Blizzard. Easiest comparison because it's under the same Activision umbrella. Blizzard has all these different franchises. World of Warcraft, Overwatch, Here's the Storm, Hearthstone, and StarCraft, of course, right?
Yeah!
How could I forget the ultimate gaming experience? And if Bungie can move that direction, I mean, I think I'd be interested in some other Bungie gaming products. I would certainly be interested in there. I mean, who wouldn't want to see Bungie slapped on a video game and look into it, right?
Yes, I would love to. I'll explain further. Hold on. Let me read 2 more paragraphs, and then I'll give my 2 cents. Okay. In announcing the deal, NetEase noted that Bungie founder and chief creative officer Jason Jones, this is a quote, will begin the creation of new worlds. Parsons, who's the CEO of Bungie now, confirmed the tense of that phrase, saying the studio has been almost entirely focused on building Destiny. Almost entirely focused, Ditty. It's not that we don't have new ideas, things we want to do, and concepts we'd like to test out. But ultimately, we want to be a global game and entertainment company. We want to be able to build games that are inspiring people from around the world, and this partnership, in part, will allow us to do that, to begin that incubation and development process in a real way. So, is this them just looking to publish Destiny in China? No. This is
initially, I would say, yeah.
I agree. But the multi-franchise element here seems to be more than just getting that game out in China, right?
Yeah.
And wouldn't it be Activision who gets the decision to publish the game in China? Like, wouldn't it be Activision who approaches NetEase to say, hey, publish Destiny out there, right?
I don't
know.
I think they would only have that about Destiny, right? With Bungie moving towards self-publishing, if they do their own game and they say, hey, we want this published in China, I don't think they'd have to go through Activision at this point. Or, at that point.
That's a good point. So, I think you hit the nail on the head. They kind of want to be a Blizzard. They want to be making multiple games at the same time. They want to continue to expand. And when he said almost, they've been almost entirely focused on Destiny. I think some of the 1,000 people at Bungie maybe are working on other stuff that isn't Destiny. I don't know.
Probably Luke Smith, right?
Yeah. Like, remember what they did with Halo? They had a contract to make 5 Halo games, or maybe after Halo 1, then they signed the contract to make. All we know is that those dudes wanted out of their contract to make Halo games after Halo 3. They wanted that to be the end, but they still contractually owed Microsoft 2 more Halo games. We got ODST and we got Reach. Both really cool games, but you can definitely tell they are offshoots. They are a little bit different flavor than that original series. There's Easter eggs for Destiny in ODST. They had their mind and sights set on a new franchise while they were still having to create games for their contractual obligations. I wouldn't say it's a stretch to say this is a similar thing, that maybe some of the higher-ups at Bungie, I don't want to say are bored with Destiny, but they're creative people, and they don't want to be harnessed into one singular world.
I think there are certain levels within different companies, right? It's all about business and red tape, right? There are certain levels or positions that are looking for the next big thing or the next step for their company, and this was obviously a long time in the making.
Yeah.
And I think let's think about a very specific opportunity for Bungie right now. Multi-franchise, splitting the company, the 1,000-person studio, up into smaller teams. Each team gets their own project. That means a smaller team for Destiny, which hopefully means there's not as many stalls.
Yeah.
In development, and hopefully they could push out more content. Obviously, that'd be years in the future, and at that point, we'd be looking at the very end of the 10-year Destiny cycle. But hey, maybe Vicarious Visions, right? They just did Warmind. They did a great job by themselves. Maybe they're bringing in Vicarious Visions to handle Destiny while Bungie does their multi-franchise other things.
Yep. I think that's spot on. My fear, your fear, probably most people's fear when they hear this is, you mean they're taking people away from Destiny? It's barely keeping up as is. But maybe
that could be a great thing.
It could be. Maybe a smaller team. Warframe is a really small team, and they've been able to get quite a bit done, honestly. Destiny's a totally different ballpark, and I'm not saying I know anything about the development side, but anyway, I thought that was pretty good to share. Let's talk about the Warframe Dev Stream 112. 2 main things to take away from this. This is the last dev stream before TennoCon, which you said is what, in a month?
July 7th. That's a Saturday.
Oh, almost exactly a month in a few days there.
Mm-hmm.
There's a new cinematic story quest coming to the game called The Sacrifice, and they are hoping to release it before TennoCon. I saw Reb tweeting about it today. I think they're trying to get it out probably this week. If you guys have not beaten the second Dream Quest or the War Within quest within Warframe, I highly recommend you guys try and get through those quests. To me, they are my Everest experiences with Warframe. absolutely loved that experience, and do whatever you can to not let it be spoiled. And then the other thing, Ditty, a new Warframe was shown off.
Ooh.
And you saw it.
I saw the name. I see a still. I have not watched the clip. But
It's pretty cool. His name right now is Vlad internally. They don't have a finalized name for him. And he's kind of like a vampire Warframe. You essentially
cool.
tag enemies. And those tagged enemies can tag other enemies to fight for you and fight alongside you. He's got a beard. Like, Vlad has a glowing beard of energy. And I want him just for that.
Nice.
Pretty cool.
Can you change
though.
the color of the beard?
Oh, yeah. Dude, this is fashion frame. You can change all the stuff.
Excuse me.
Yeah. And then there's some different information about new melee weapon designs, stuff like that. But really, TennoCon is likely where you're going to see announcements about the next open world kind of update for Warframe, the next big stuff coming down the pipeline. If you guys are a little fatigued with Destiny 2, check out Warframe. It's phenomenal.
It's
It
free.
is a really good game. It's free. Can't beat it. All right,
The
Ditty
three
Son.
Fs. It's the 3 Fs. It's free. It's fantastic. It's phenomenal. Yeah. Okay. That's
Kicked
PH,
off the
whatever.
show. That's the end. You don't even get to say where people can find your content. Oh, but where can they find your content?
Twitter.com/Ditty, DTS, DITTY, and YouTube.com/Wooshness, WOOOSHNESS. E3 this weekend.
Oh, that's a good point. Yeah, there's going to be a lot of announcements. Enjoy the reveal stream stuff this week, guys. We will talk in detail about it next time, but this NetEase announcement, I think, was a big enough deal to deep dive it. So join the conversation on our Discord at discord.me/Destiny the Show. We'll be in there yelling about the reveal stream all week long. And you can follow us on Twitter at Destiny the Show. You can follow me on Twitter, Twitch, and YouTube at BBKDRAGOON. And if you want to read more about the stuff we talked about today, our website is destinytheshow.com. All right, have a great week, and we'll talk to you next time.